Uh, Now back to positive chat pie. Oh, now you tell me. Rewind. Sorry, y'all. It kind of talks to me when it tells me it's recording. So now I gotta go back. Thank you. Hey, welcome. Now back to positive chat pod. You are on air with your host, the one and only Angelique Boss Lady Everett. This episode is my Medicaid and Medicare budget cuts EP. I've got special guests and a new friend, Nicole LeBlanc. Hope I said that right.
Yes, that's good.
Oh, she is a self-advocate involved in advocacy about Medicaid, home and community-based services, HCBS, for the initials. Hey, Nicole, so glad to have you on here with me.
It's great to be on your show today.
Thank you. I'm super excited. All right, so now tell me about yourself.
My name is Nicole LeBlanc. I live in Silver Spring, Maryland. I've lived in the state going on 9 years. I'm originally from Vermont, born in Massachusetts. I'm on the autism spectrum. Um, I'm one of those people who's medically complex thanks to ailments from COVID-19 on the spectrum of long COVID. I've worked in the disability policy advocacy field since 2007. I'm known as the budget watchdog, guardian of inclusion, and a federal disability policy wonk. My motto is control your own destiny or someone else will. I'm also a national expert in the area of dignity of risk.
Okay, that seems interesting. Before we get into the other questions, when were you diagnosed with autism?
When I was 21, I didn't get an autism diagnosis till 21 till attending Job Corps, which was a not so pleasant experience. It felt like an
Oh,
institution, which is one reason why I say it's important that families do not shelter their sons and daughters with disabilities because it'll backfire in the real world when they find out
definitely
how
agree
mean and
with that.
nasty the real world can be at times.
Agree about that. That's
Shortly
very
after that
important.
experience is, when I got a Medicaid waiver and is where I
Uh,
got
so,
an autism diagnosis.
um, so why is Medicaid and Medicare so important to you?
Oh, Medicaid buy-in and Medicare is an essential lifeline because it's the only publicly funded health insurance program and it's the only place where home and community-based services are where only place where you can get home and community-based services. Without Medicaid, I would have no health insurance. Medicaid, many people with disabilities work part-time slash in the gig economy that does not provide health insurance. Access to Medicaid and Medicare is essential, especially for, in addition, family caregivers. It's the only funder of HC home and community-based services for seniors and people with disabilities. As a former user of home and community-based services, and as somebody who's currently fighting the state of Maryland trying to get an HCBS waiver, cuts to Medicaid will only worsen access to HCBS and the quality of life for people with autism, seniors, and other disabilities. I fear cutting Medicaid will force states to cut optional services like dental care, for instance. Until recently, Maryland did not have a dental benefit, and it forced me to pay out of pocket and get dental care from dental schools and donated dental programs. Like, for instance, during the pandemic, started the pandemic, I had uh, three wisdom teeth taken out, including one emergency wisdom tooth at the start of the lockdown in April 2020. Trying to get access to care without dental coverage or HCBS supports is very challenging and stressful. Cutting Medicaid and Medicare will lead to less access to preventative care and more emergency room visits, and will put the safety and stability of people with developmental disabilities and their families in jeopardy. People with disabilities need stability and serenity in our lives, not just the never-ending stress, chaos, and trauma caused by disruptions in our support system and safety net, which is something that this budget proposal would cause. People, we deserve to, you know, thrive, not just live in survival mode. Work requirements, for instance, will only cause more stress, especially for all of us in the gig economy who don't have stable income and who lack formal HCBS supports to help us in dealing with government red tape, managing paperwork for public benefits.
It's very interesting. Okay. But that's sad though. It's very, very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Uh, so what do you think about our president making cuts to Medicaid and Medicare?
Government should not be cutting Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. We need to expand and strengthen these programs for seniors and people with disabilities for generations to come. Cutting programs like these will force people with disabilities back to the dark ages of segregation and institutions and will worsen health disparities among the disability community, including raising, higher ER costs, less access to preventative care and greater stress on our already stretched thin support networks. Well, raising taxes on the rich would be much smarter. We need to embrace universal health care, HCBS access for all adults with autism and other disabilities and seniors. Too many people like me fall through the cracks and lack access to HCBS. We must eliminate IQ limits, wait lists, and crisis-driven funding priorities in the HCBS system. HCBS must be portable from state to state. Changes like this will open opportunities for people with autism and other developmental disabilities, and it will make our lives easier. If one is eligible for HCBS in one state, you should be eligible in another state. We must also embrace progressive reform in limiting asset and earnings caps in Medicaid, SSI, SSDI. Doing so will save time and money and make our lives easier. This is especially true for DSPs, families, and service coordinators who support us in maintaining public benefits and dealing with all the bureaucratic paperwork that comes with public benefits. We need less red tape, not more. The not so big, beautiful bill is regressive in nature and will worsen the DSP crisis, direct support professionals. Cuts to Medicaid will force providers to cut wages for DSPs. This will cause massive trauma and disruption in the lives of people with disabilities due to higher staff turnover. Lastly, many of us fear a return to institutions and segregated settings that we have fought so hard to eliminate.
Okay. And I definitely agree about the staff and stuff. I definitely agree about that. Are you? I'm just putting this out here. Do you work with staff? Do self-direction?
Well, I'm currently fighting the state trying to get an HCBS waiver. I currently pay out of pocket for private duty via
Uh,
Macomb, an agency in the state of Maryland, and I'm currently fighting the system trying to get an HCBS waiver. We need progressive changes like getting rid of IQ limits and you shouldn't have to be at risk of institutionalization or nursing home level care in order to get an HCBS waiver. We must focus on function and move away from
I
all this
agree about that.
IQ and ICF level of care nonsense.
So what do before I go into anything else? So what do you do with your I can't talk, your self-advocacy program?
Uh, what do you say?
What do you do for your self-advocacy program?
Um, you know, at a national level, who's involved in the self-advocacy movement and fighting cuts to Medicaid. I'm currently assisting the state of Georgia with the National Leadership Consortium and fighting budget cuts against Medicaid, drafting action alerts to post to their social media channels.
That's a good thing. Word of
On
mouth
top
is
of
always
on top of
good.
every day emailing everyone saying hands off Medicaid.
You got that right. I've been doing that myself, so you got that right. All right. I just had to throw that question in there. So, follow-up questions, follow-up questions. I love follow-up questions. All right. Where am I at?
I have five is what do you think about him making all
Oh,
these cuts?
here we go. Here we go. What do you think about? And I'm just gonna put it out there. Our so-called president. 'Cause I call him my so-called president. What do you think about so-called president making all of these budget cuts?
We need the government to stop cutting government services and the safety net for our most vulnerable citizens. We must raise taxes on the rich. The disability community is not disposable, no matter how many comorbidities we have. We need progressive Medicaid reform. Ending the institutional bias in Medicaid and raising the FMAP would be much wiser. As the old saying goes, a nation is judged by how it treats its most vulnerable. Our nation's most vulnerable are not disposable.
And it's not just disabled.
Respect my existence or expect resistance.
I agree about that. I agree. We should stick together. I agree about that. Do you have any advice about what we should do to advocate and not just complain?
Great question.
Thank
Everyone
you.
needs to be jamming phones and emails and you know, flooding Twitter, Blue Sky, and the new news media outlets. If you have access to the media, to lobby Congress and demand hands off Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, and raise taxes on the rich. Our existence is resistance. Respect my existence or expect resistance. You know, teamwork makes the dream work. We we're able to win this battle in 2017, and we can do it again.
You got that right.
A
And you
nation is
always use
judged by
that
how it
10.
treats its most vulnerable.
Yes, yes. And I definitely agree about you.
Yes.
Teamwork made the dream work.
Uh-huh. Yes, we are the majority.
As I always say, we got to stand up and
Mhm.
voices.
Yes, the war on the disabled must
Yeah.
stop.
Okay.
We must hold rallies, call-in days, work in coalition with other disability, aging, and non-disability groups.
So how many I can't even talk disabled groups are you on?
Well, I'm coalition with Leadership Consortium. I'm also Institute for Exceptional Care, IDD Advocate Corps, which is focused on, eliminating health disparities and health equity for this, given that the IDD community is a medically underserved population. By working in coalition with disability groups and aging groups and other social justice groups, you know, you know,
Yeah.
it's much easier to, win a fight like this by holding rallies, call-in days. It's
Spe-
time to put people first
Speaking
and
of rally,
corporations last.
uh,
There is strength in numbers as we fight this nasty piece of legislation. Teamwork makes the dream work. We are stronger
that
together. The disability community is one of the most resilient and adaptive. especially in surviving change we didn't ask for. As Helen Keller once said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much.
Oh, I like that. I love Helen Keller.
Yes.
So I like that.
Just like, as climate change intensifies, the government must listen to the disability community.
Yes. So I just
Mm.
found out that they
Def-
arrested people in wheelchairs.
Yes, they did.
Oh my God. And they were,
Adaptability is one of our assets as a community.
yes. How can we problem solve to make something happen?
Well, that gets that problem solving in terms of making stuff happen. We must, get news media and get, families involved and providers use an all hands on deck approach. And, let's get the media to do stories with us talking about the impact that these draconian budget cuts will have on our day-to-day lives. Cutting Medicaid is not just a healthcare program, it's a long-term care program. It's an economic engine. Cutting cuts to Medicaid will cause a Great Depression and hurt the economy.
Definitely agree. Definitely
Uh-huh.
agree.
Medicaid did not cause our budget deficits.
You got that right.
And
But
people
not
with disabilities
healthcare.
should not be the ones paying the price for the current budget deficit slash fiscal crisis.
Well, thank you, thought. Well, that's enough with the questions, but I always have to have an affirmation in this podcast. So, and I know that you would like this one, especially you're in Maryland and it's hot. So, take a walk in the park and embrace nature.
Amen.
Have you speaking of Maryland, do you have any parks in Maryland?
Like what do parks? Yeah, there's a lot of hiking places around Montgomery
Oh,
County. Uh-huh. And
have you
one thing,
hiked
one thing,
before?
and one, uh-huh. And one thing
Have you
recently
been
in the past,
hiking?
uh-huh, 5 years, Maryland's Medicaid buy-in program for people with disabilities has no asset or earnings caps.
Oh,
Yes, that is something all states should adopt. We should allow everybody to buy into Medicaid instead of cutting it, instead of, universal health care is what we truly need. And
yeah.
universal access to HCBS, direct support providers paid at a little livable wage. So we can have stability, peace, and serenity and, and thrive, not just
Definitely.
survive.
Okay. Oh. And I always have a self-care corner, and I know you would like this one. I kind of just seen it and I picked it. So keep pushing yourself. You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind. Next, the honor. I
Awesome
knew you
quote.
would like that one. So
Mm-hmm.
it's out of my affirmation book I got. So self-care
Cool.
book. So
Yes, and
I
everybody
like
should
you
get
like that.
massages for their self-care in this day and age.
Yes.
Massage therapy is the best for nervous system dysregulation.
Now I have a spotlight, and I know this you would definitely would like to hear because me and my staff is actually creating a new self-advocacy group on Medicaid and Medicare budget cuts.
Oh, good.
And and I even just made a petition for all of us to sign as well too.
Perfect.
I just made it. Yes, I just made it yesterday. So now I would be honored since I'm talking about this new self-advocacy group. If you didn't mind, I would be honored for you to be a part of this new self-advocacy group that we're about to do.
Cool. Sure.
Okay? I know Sophia had told me earlier that you would definitely be a part. You would definitely, you know, would be honored to be a part of it. So I'll be honored.
Cool.
She told me that you probably would help with it. So
Guess I'm
now this is actually a new corner that I just created. So before I even say Lady E, I am known as Lady E. So I call this one Spilling the Tea with Lady E. And I just found some of this out just this morning that I'm going to be reading to you. I got a little blurb I kind of made. So before I ask you any questions in this one, we're going to be discussing budget cuts, which we already did, starting with Medicaid and Medicare. Our so-called president is deciding to pass a big, beautiful bill. But we are going to put a stop to it. It is time for us to stand up, raise our voices, loud, proud, and can be heard. Now, I got this in parentheses because his big, beautiful bill is not. This big, beautiful bill is not so beautiful as you think. I would
hmm
say it like that.
And he's doing that to confuse it with, he's trying to confuse us with Build Back Better.
Uh,
That's why he's calling it Big Beautiful Bill.
well, it's not so beautiful. So I know I even call it that to begin with. So,
hmm
but I just found out just this morning from NBC News this morning, 'cause it was just this morning. Just found out the bill is also projected to lead to 11.8 million people to lose their health insurance by 2034. Becomes law. Oh, health insurance by 2034 becomes law, the CBO had said. I just found that out this morning when I Googled search.
hmm
Power of Google, I'm telling you.
And it's also important for people to know that, even though they say, oh, people with disabilities are exempt from work requirements, the truth is we are not. The truth is it's very hard to actually prove you are. And
Yeah.
that does not help people who have unstable income. That does not help people who are in gig economy between a mix of, part-time, PRN, self-employment.
And especially, I just
It's
found
just a,
out.
it's just a nightmare headache to kick that's used to kick people off of insurance.
So I just found out there's a couple of holidays that he's thinking about actually cutting as well too, like Juneteenth, Pride Month. So we're actually in the Pride Month. He's thinking about getting rid of it. Like really, he got to be out of his mind. Just out of his mind. I'm telling you. Probably his old age is getting to him. Probably.
hmm
Thinking about getting rid of, and especially Black History. People didn't know about Black History now, and he thinking about getting rid of that one. I'm like, really?
hmm
Now, I always have a social media. I'm all over social media because right now I'm actually using all of my platforms to talk about this. So you can use positive chat podcast to like me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram at positive chat pod.
So what is it called?
All
Positive?
let me go back. Follow me on Instagram at Positive Chat Pod.
What about Facebook? Positive?
Oh, hold up.
I don't have Instagram.
Let me redo this for you because it's actually in the first part of it. So you can use positive chat podcast to follow me on Facebook.
Positive Chat Podcast.
Yes, it is. You want me to spell that for you?
What city are you in?
Buffalo, New York.
Is your is your number 716-603?
Yes, it is.
Cool. Cool. Awesome.
You must have found it.
Mm-hmm.
And then follow me on Instagram at Positive Chat Pie.
Don't have Instagram.
That's all right. All of you can now send me an email, which is Angelique Chat Pie 0231 at yahoo.com.
Okay, so you're
So now you can book to be on air with me. And if you want, I will send you the email, do the chat for you.
cool. And your email is chitchat.podcastee
Well,
at gmail.com.
that one is the old one. I actually have a newer one for you, but I can send that to I can send that to you by the chat.
Cool. Yeah, you can set. Yeah, my email is
Okay,
in the chat.
I'll email you that.
Hmm.
Uh, you
And
can look.
when the video is uploaded and ready, feel free to share a link.
Okay, you want the video or the audio? Because I'll have two. So
Yeah, like a video that whenever we show it on YouTube and whatever
okay.
platform it goes on.
Oh. You can have a book to be on air with me. And if you want, you can DM me as well at Positive Chat Pod. All right now. All right. Now I have a couple of questions. Now I got a couple of more questions to ask my lovely get my lovely special guest. Happy vibes only. I always have to have a happy vibes only zone. So, what do you do in general in a positive way?
In general, well, into my I like getting massages,
Ooh,
body work, acupuncture. I love
ooh,
going to conferences. I love doing speaking engagements, hiking. I like horseback riding,
ooh.
traveling.
That's something interesting. Okay.
Hmm.
And what kind of conferences?
And I love goofing off with my sister Megan.
Uh, Now that's something positive.
Yes, who's my knight in shining armor and who I've only become closer to since 2016,
Aw,
since all this chaos began. If there's any silver lining to it, it's brought me and my siblings closer together.
definitely agree about that. We need a little bit of love. We got too
Uh-huh.
much love now.
That we do. And TLC.
Now, the reason why I ask you that question is because I have another corner that's called Bitter Pill. And in this corner, I always ask my guests, how do you deal with negative people? So, how do you deal with negative people, Nicole?
How do I deal with negative people? Good question. So, I'll fight back. I like often say I don't suffer from autism. I suffer from low expectation syndrome, and ableist attitudes.
Oh, that's a good
Somebody who 20s, was told, oh, you should live in a group home when I was 18, senior year of high school. Oh, you shouldn't walk to your class at 18. You'll lose all your services. I'm like, sorry, that's what the pediatric nurse told me in 12th grade. And I'm like, I'm walking with my class, whether you like it or not. Get the hell out of my way. You're not the boss of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm a survivor of the system.
That's a good thing.
Yes. It's one reason why I teach a lot about dignity of risk. I talk about disability double standard. You know, so often, we hold people with disabilities to higher standards that, okay, when they screw up, they get much harsher punishment than some neurotypical.
All right. Oh. Hot topics coming soon. So if y'all have any hot topics for me, you can either email me or DM me. Or send me a Facebook message as well. All right. Well, I don't have a throwback zone for y'all this time, but you can watch older episodes of my show, or you can listen to throwback episodes of my podcast as well too, on all platforms:
Hmm,
iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, my YouTube channel, and so much more.
cool. And feel free to send me a link to your YouTube channel.
Uh, oh, you know I will. And now I have an after vibe, after vibe. This is for like after the month that I do an interview. So after vibe, I got a couple of episodes coming up in July. I got my fitness, health, and nutrition episode with a really good friend of mine, and also my amazing staff, Noelle Smith. Hey, Noelle. Diva reunion episode with another good friend of mine, Shanine Wilson. This one I already have scheduled already for the month of July, which is sound bath healing with my friend Jill. She's awesome, by the way. I actually did one at a Zen retreat a couple of weeks ago. So she literally put me to sleep. So, and the last one I got is Smooched episode, EP with Chanel. She does a lip gloss business for people. Now I got the cool zone. I got music, sports, podcasts, and books. Are you interested in listening to any music, Nicole?
Yeah, I listen to for music. I listen to music. I listen to country. Country. I listen to oldies. Cher.
Ooh, I
I
love
listen
Cher.
to Josh Groban. You Raised Me Up. Free Willy. Sung by Michael Jackson. Summer of
Ooh,
'69. Cher songs. If I could turn back time.
oh, I
And there's a
love that
Cher
song.
song called Dangerous Times. John Mellencamp. I fight authority. Authority always wins. And then there's Twisted Sister. We're not going to
Uh,
take it anymore, which should be the national anthem for the current world we live in.
oh yeah, I
Yes, we're
definitely.
not going to take it anymore.
Are you into sports a little bit?
I love watching Red Sox and
Oh, so
NFL.
you're a baseball fan.
Yes, I'm a Red Sox fan, Patriots fan. I'm a Josh Allen fan.
Oh, hold up, Josh
Yes,
Allen. That's Buffalo.
yeah,
That's where I live at Buffalo. You're a
yes,
Buffalo.
your quarterback is a cutie. Your
Yeah,
quarterback is a cutie.
you know he's actually he
Yeah,
just got.
and I think you need a better head coach to win the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't know about a better coach because I love the coach, but they should go to the Super Bowl though. We should have went last year.
That you should have.
Yes,
Fortunately.
we were supposed to go until Kansas City kind of. screwed us up.
Yes, you need to get in a situation where you can get the number one seed and then have KC be knocked out in the first round.
I agree about that 'cause we were the
That
number
ideally
one
that's what
seed.
needs to happen.
And I miss my D. They had a trade D. It's a whole different thing. I'm like, really? Stefan Diggs. They just had to trade him.
Yep, Stephon Diggs, currently in New England.
Now in New England now. Do you listen to any podcasts?
I haven't really listened to podcasts, although I've done podcasts.
Oh, well, you would definitely listen to mine, I know. At least I hope you do. And do you read any books?
Oh, I read books on, health, wellness.
Oh, ooh, now that's interesting. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, including fasting.
And I just put in the chat, there's another podcast I've done.
Oh, there is. Okay, I gotta get back into listening to my podcast because I have a lot of podcasts. So, all right, before I wrap things up for y'all, I do have a rights corner. So if anybody want to put a right in the right corner, let me know. But I do have this one that I came up with: freedom of speech. We all have a freedom of speech and to make our own decisions too. All right, now I can wrap things up now. I just had to put my rights corner out there though. And before I wrap things up, I'm going to flip flop this so then I can stop it. This has been another episode of Positive Chat Podcast. Now I want to say thanks to my special guest all the way from Baltimore, Maryland, Nicole. Thank you,
Silver
Nicole.
Spring, Maryland.
What?
Silver Spring, Maryland.
Oh, Silver Spring, Maryland.
Yeah,
Oh,
not Baltimore.
I'm sorry. All the way from
Although that's
Silver
not too
Spring,
far from me.
Maryland. Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome.
I thought it was Baltimore. Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
I am your host, Angelique Everett. I'll holla right back at y'all. Peace out. Okay, where's my stop button? Okay, I'm trying to stop it and not let me stop. Oh, here we go.